Felix has a little princess he spoils. She's always crying and playing hide and seek. Because of her, Felix missed our wedding and even missed our daughter's birth. Later on, I took our daughter and left the country around the same time as his little princess. He went in the opposite direction, off to find the sulking girl. 2 months later, he finally called me. Wasn't it time to come back from vacation? But our daughter, with her sweet little voice, warned him. I've already picked a new dad. Don't mess it up. 5 years of marriage with Felix, and I remained the butt of jokes. At my solitary wedding, the groom vanished. During the life and death moments in the delivery room, the baby's dad was absent. All because of a tearful girl. Stella. She's an orphan Felix adopted, and they call each other uncle and niece. But his fondness for Stella and her dependency on him? It always seemed like they were more than that. On the day Felix and I got married, Stella cleverly disappeared, leaving only a note behind Uncle. After thinking it over, I don't know how to face the married you, so I chose to leave. Don't try to find me. How could Felix not have gone after her? Even while she was at school, he needed to have all the updates. Especially when she disappeared. So, Felix couldn't trust anyone else, he went himself. The grand wedding, reported by the media, was just me standing alone. But I couldn't leave. Our family's company was in trouble then, and K Group lent a hand. This was both a true union and a business alliance. I had to stick it out, forcing myself to see all the guests off. I politely told them that Felix was just worried about a junior. But everyone knew the real deal. Who was Stella as a junior? She was just a girl Felix had adopted at 20 from an orphanage. They have no blood relation. The little girl is now 18, with a mind of her own, and has ruined a few of Felix's relationships. Proving time and again that she's more important than his girlfriend. Everyone knows this, but no one dares mention it, fearing Felix. But as Felix's neglected wife, I became the topic of their gossip. Christina can't even handle a young girl. When that girl grows up, she should step down. I endured such whispers for 5 years. Our daughter is 5 now, yet Felix has never brought up divorce. But one thing stays the same, Stella is always his first priority. I can never forget the day our daughter was born, how I called his name through the pain. He never showed. He didn't see my struggle, nor the first moments of his child's life. That day, he was at Stella's graduation, publicly gave her flowers, and was even asked to speak. Everyone admired Stella, saying she was the apple of Felix's eye. I forgave Felix many times. But what I can't forgive is him ignoring our daughter for Stella. Lily, our daughter, is 5 now, in kindergarten. Yet her dad has never dropped her off or picked her up. I mentioned it to Felix, and he thought it was unnecessary. The whole world knows he's busy, running a huge business empire. There's a chauffeur and nanny at home, why waste his time? Sure, taking and picking up our daughter, building a father-daughter bond, is a waste of time for Felix. But I knew, back in the day, he had time to pick up Stella every day from school. How did he have so much time to waste then? That night, I confronted him for the first time. Felix, if you love that girl so much, divorce me and marry her. What's this thing you've got going? He lost it, hit me for the first time. What nonsense are you talking about? 5 years ago, after I gave birth, although he was late, I cursed him. He only held my hand and apologized. But when it involves Stella? What? You find it disgusting too? I disgusted him once more and slapped him back. Finally, holding his face, he stormed out, not coming home all night. Word got to my parents about Felix hitting me. They're retired in Los Angeles. Over the years, our family's businesses have been moving overseas too. Originally, Felix and I were a business match, but now it's unnecessary. How long do we drag this out? Take advantage of the fact that the kid's still young, just divorce. Staring at my reflection in the red mark, I was losing my fight. Don't worry, I've got a lawyer now. These last 5 years went to the dogs. While discussing the agreement drafts with my lawyer, Felix called. What time does Lily get out of school? I'll pick her up. I smirked. Lily's been out of school for an hour. She's already had dinner. Felix went silent. After a while, as I was losing patience, he finally said, Christina, about yesterday, I'm sorry. I felt no emotion in my heart. I know. But damage is done. Saying sorry doesn't help anything. Felix didn't give up. The next day, he was punctual, picking up Lily. The two of them came back chatting and laughing. Lily happily told me, Daddy said we'd go on a family vacation when school's out. Mommy, I want to see the big desert. I want Daddy to hold me while riding the camels. Can't we? With just 2 days till vacation, a trip wouldn't delay the divorce. I wouldn't let Lily be disappointed, of course. I said okay. Lily was thrilled. Felix seemed relieved, probably not wanting the guilt. But, sadly, our family trip never happened. Felix broke his promise. Word was, Stella had left for Switzerland without a word. He had to chase after his little girl. That morning, Lily sat at the doorstep, clutching her little suitcase, crying her eyes out. Nobody could comfort her. At that same time, my mom's old condition worsened. I was worried about her, bought a ticket, and decisively took Lily with me to Los Angeles. Before leaving, I left the divorce papers for Felix. But at the airport, we saw each other again. Feeling playful, I walked up to Felix and told him. Lily and I are off to Los Angeles. We might not be back for a year or longer. Stop joking. Felix glanced at me, sounding pretty impatient. The loudspeakers announced both flights were boarding soon. Just then, Felix's assistant came running to tell him, Miss Stella is on that flight. You can still make it. He heard this and his expression softened a bit. He turned to me and said, Take care of Lily. Be back soon. Felix walked away, trusting I'd never leave him. But Felix, I'm not coming back. When the plane reached over Los Angeles, it was just in time for the pre-dawn. The sun was about to break through the clouds. Everything from yesterday was over. Everything was going to start fresh. It's such a good sign. When I landed, it was my brother Johnny who picked me up. These years, he's been taking care of our parents here and managing the business. I had my parents keep it from him, so he didn't know about Felix slapping me. If he did, he'd probably tear Felix apart. But even so, knowing I wanted a divorce made him happy. Should have divorced a long time ago. That guy wasn't a good match. Shouldn't have been a business marriage from the start. He said, but we're talking about business worth billions. Plus, I liked Felix. He was willing to marry me, and I was willing to marry him. But now I regret it. Hey, bro, could you do me a favor? What? He asked. Find me a few strong guys. My brother was confused. Lily's asleep, right? Duh. How could I say stuff like this if she weren't asleep? As much as Felix deserves it, he's still Lily's real dad. It wouldn't be right for Lily to know about this, and you better not mention it. My brother apologized, sorry, I think I misunderstood. Once we got home, I sighed in relief. Mom's health was fine. She just wanted to see me sooner, so she faked a relapse. Regarding my failed marriage, my folks were sad for me and scolded Felix. It didn't stop until Lily woke up. The old couple entertained their darling granddaughter, and finally, they got down to business. Not going back, are you? Rest a bit. Help out at the company? Yeah, and there are many young, eligible bachelors at the company. It could double as matchmaking. They spoke with enthusiasm, and I didn't argue. They just wanted me to experience happiness after all I'd been through. At that moment, my Lily looked up with her big dark eyes, staring at her grandparents. Matchmaking? Are you finding me a new dad? No, Lily, I thought she was upset and hurried to explain. But unexpectedly, the next second, my little girl started clapping. Yay! Lily wants a new dad. I was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Does she even understand what new dad means? A new dad is like mom's new husband, right? My classmate has a new dad, and she says her new dad is awesome. I asked her how he was awesome, and she said, he's richer than the old dad. Buys her lots of toys. Mom, is being rich all that good? Lily asked me this deep question for the first time. I hadn't come up with an answer yet when Lily propped her chin up and muttered to herself, I don't think being rich is necessarily good, since my dad is super rich. It stung my heart. Kids know everything, don't they? Suddenly, Lily thought out loud and tugged on my arm. Mom, why don't you find Lily a new dad too? Find someone who'll smile at Mom, celebrate her birthday with her, and plan surprises with Lily. She paused and pouted. Just not like Dad. He does nothing. He makes Mom unhappy. Her little mind was all about me. In that instant, I couldn't hold back anymore and cried. My sweet baby. Having you is enough for me. After a few days of rest, I officially started job hunting. I didn't choose to work at the family company, as it wasn't my field. I studied broadcasting, and my dream was to work at a TV station. Luckily, it's never too late to pursue your dreams. Plus, Lily said she wanted to see Mom on TV because it's cool. And her next comment was that this way, Mom could be seen by more cool men. Thanks to her little mouth, I ran into 2 potential romances as soon as I joined the TV station. One was a colleague with blonde hair and blue eyes, a local rich kid. He said it was love at first sight. The other was my former senior who, upon hearing about my divorce, wanted to take me out to express his old crush. I was so confused. But my brother said, look in the mirror, men love women like you. He's changed. He used to call me ugly. By the way, does Felix know about this? Why not just slap him with a green hat? Later, Felix did find out. I spent 2 months in Los Angeles. With Lily's summer vacation over, I found her a tutor, got her set up with local classes, and was preparing for her school. Before all that, I thought I'd politely inform Felix, but he didn't answer my calls. Could be because my brother had guys beat him up. The divorce lawyer told me, I went to see Felix, but he heard I was on your behalf and wouldn't meet, didn't even ask why. The divorce papers are still with me. What's Felix's deal? Since he didn't fight back, why is he mad? I directly contacted his assistant, but she chose to cover her ears. There's no need to tell me Felix isn't interested in hearing anything related to you right now. Did he get hurt bad? No, he was fine at first until he heard the ones who beat him weren't arranged by Johnny, but by you. What's the difference? My brother arranged it. Couldn't I? Because it was you, Felix seems really upset. We've never seen Felix like this. The chairman scolded him for acting immature. The chairman is Felix's mom. I didn't finish listening and hung up. I'd seen Felix being immature too many times. But I didn't know what he was so upset about. Until that night, when in my sleep, Felix called me. Drunk, with a low, incoherent voice. Christina, how could you be okay with having someone beat me up? Between us, there was no intimacy. It suited our business marriage. Christina, where did you put my matching tie? Christina, our daughter's crying, come soothe her. Christina, this coffee keeps getting worse. You didn't make it, you're brushing me off. I told my girlfriends, but they didn't believe it. Felix is the same as any other guy, just another jerk. A life idiot. An idiot at taking care of his daughter. Idiot through and through. But even such an idiot jerk managed to become some girl's pillar. He's the perfect uncle to Stella, but he shows me his worst side. So, I just told Felix straight up, why wouldn't I hit you? Are you my son? Do you call me Mom? Next time we meet, don't call me by my name. Call me Mrs. Christina. It's more distant and fits us better. I hung up the phone, feeling so much better. But the next day, someone else bothered me. It was Stella. Stella came angrily, did you have someone hit my uncle? Why? What did he ever do to you? He never wanted to divorce you. She was almost in tears with that last line. My face got a bit colder. Is not getting divorced supposed to be a good thing? You're too young to put so much weight on marriage. Somehow, this hit a nerve with Stella. She suddenly raised her voice. I am not a kid. Uncle helped me celebrate my 23rd birthday today. Oh right, today's your birthday too, sis. You're 29 now, aren't you? Maybe it's not about me being young, but you being old? Funny fate, Stella and I share the same birthday. Married for 5 years. Felix never remembers my birthday. He only remembers after Stella's, giving me a last-minute gift. So, I pile his gifts in the closet, unopened. I don't need such afterthoughts. It's pointless. I didn't want to waste words with Stella. Just replied, 29 isn't young, make sure you don't live to see it. Message sent. I laughed. Stella's so fragile, she'll probably cry, right? I made Felix's little girl cry. Will he call to blame me once he sobers up? I blocked Felix in advance, but I underestimated him. He called my parents' landline. Luckily, they were out for a morning walk, and my brother was at work. I watched Lily eat breakfast, ready to take her to school. Lately, this little one's been preoccupied, watching me closely. Mom, why are you ignoring that uncle's call? That's rude. Mom's got her reasons. You don't like him? Do you like another uncle? The one who's your college buddy? I'll go get your backpack. I dodged, but as soon as I went upstairs, the landline rang again. I picked up the phone in my room, hearing a voice too familiar. You've been traveling for so long, when are you coming back? It was Felix, sounding annoyed. I figured, after snapping at Stella, he'd come after me. But he surprised me. Today's your birthday, remember to have some cake. The criticism stuck in my throat. What's Felix playing at? Pretending to be the good husband even while divorcing? I was ready to mock when I suddenly heard a soft voice over the line. Lily had picked up downstairs. Dad, looking for Mom? She's not home. When I was clearly there. I was puzzled why Lily lied, then she raised her voice. But Dad, you're really bad. Mom doesn't like cake. Every year, she only eats noodles on her birthday. Even an uncle knows that she meant the rich guy chasing me. I never knew my daughter was so sharp. Felix's voice turned shaky. Who's the uncle? Lily huffed, warning him, one of Mom's picks for a new dad. Don't bother us. I rushed downstairs to grab the phone from Lily. Good job, but no more of that. Felix, hearing me, nearly yelled, Christina, I know you're there, don't hang up. I knew he was fuming, but why should I care? Hung up. Then I lectured Lily. Since when are you scouting for Mom? Helping you out, Mom. On the way to school, my phone kept buzzing. Thought it was spam. Turned out, it was from Felix. I was shocked he'd text. He always called, even when I asked him to text. Waste of time, he'd say. Yet he'd pause meetings to reply to Stella. So, I didn't read, just deleted. Never needed them, no use now. Dropped Lily at preschool, Felix called again. I picked up. Why didn't you read my text? Waste of time left him speechless. Still mad at me? No. I'm back tomorrow. Transferred all my shares to you. Your lawyer pesters me, why? If you're worried I'll give my assets to Stella, don't be. Come back, and it's all yours. But I know Felix too well. Being rich, money never mattered to him. You've got it wrong, Felix. My lawyer isn't about the money. I want a divorce. Silence on his end. Air felt frozen. I thought he'd be thrilled. If he likes Stella, now he can be with her. If not, he's free. From now on, he can spoil whoever he wants. I won't mind. I waited for his agreement. Instead, Felix's dark, moody voice came through. You found someone else? Christina, you've cheated. Divorce isn't happening. He hung up. Felix met with my lawyer, tore up the divorce papers. No idea what he did, but my lawyer resigned. No lawyer locally would take my case. Next, I saw Felix. He showed up in Los Angeles. The evening of my TV station shift, I had dinner plans with my senior. He'd helped with a work crisis recently, my treat was overdue, so I booked a table in advance. But who would have thought? As I was laughing with my senior and walking out of the TV station, Felix was standing right by the street bollard. He was wearing a black trench coat, looking sharp and handsome. Local girls couldn't help but glance his way. That face once attracted me too. But now, I absolutely hate it. I pretended not to see him and said, "Hey, senior, let's go grab some food." Before I finished, Felix was already blocking our path. "Christina, I'm not going to say it again, come with me." "What gives you the right to order me around?" At this point, my senior stepped in front to shield me. "Christina doesn't want to deal with you." My senior was being naive. Did he think Felix was someone who'd listen to reason? I could see Felix's fists clenching, veins bulging. I sighed, stepped forward to protect my senior, and looked up at Felix. "If you dare touch him, I won't mind getting someone to beat you up again." Felix's face turned dark. "All right. Good for you, Christina. You're doing this to me for someone else." He glared at me, eyes reddened. That's just him, always believing that what's his should always stay his. Even if he doesn't like it, he won't let anyone else have it. But Felix, the world doesn't revolve around you. Felix never looked for me again. Meanwhile, the two suitors from the TV station also stopped asking me out. It's not like I wasn't used to it, but I was worried Felix the jerk threatened them. Because when I subtly asked, the answer was, "Christina, actually, your brother asked us to make you more confident. Your brother was worried you'd get depressed over love, so he figured since you wouldn't like us anyway, we'd just flirt a bit to cheer you up." "Oh, and it's not just us. The third one's on the way." 5 minutes later, I ran into the third one in the elevator. He was a famous architect, named Jason, and a guest on our TV show. Good looking, talented, but totally not calculating. As soon as he saw me, he said, "Miss Christina? Nice to meet you." How does he know me when I'm just an intern? He has to be the third suitor my brother arranged. I replied, "Nice to meet you too, but should we just leave it at that?" "Huh. You're our interview guest, and I don't want any rumors affecting my professional image." The elevator reached the 8th floor, and before leaving, he looked back. "Miss Christina, your badge is crooked." I quickly looked down and saw my name on the tag. So maybe he wasn't sent by my brother after all. What did I even say just now? I hit the elevator button hard, wishing to disappear. Surprisingly, Jason turned back, those bright eyes looking at me. "Oh, Miss Christina, don't worry, my professional image is important too. I never want to run into Jason again. All I want is to yell at my brother." I couldn't hold back and grabbed my phone. "Who told you to find people to pursue me like I'm some game? Do you know how embarrassed I was just now?" My brother casually replied, "You're my sister, can't I entertain you with a game?" "I don't want this game. I'm done. Can you stop? Don't get mad, alright?" My brother coaxed me for a bit, then changed the subject. "Your soon-to-be ex-husband just visited the company. Brought a big chunk of business, just asking me to say a kind word for him, not to divorce." Beg? Felix would beg my brother? To be fair, this guy's improved. Giving up so much for you shows he cares. Seems like he knows he messed up. Want to reconsider? My brother wavered. Felix is pretty slick. If he can't get to me, he tries to work around through my circle. "Bro, you sure you want to speak for him?" He slapped me, once. Once I said that, my peacekeeping brother immediately flipped. "Felix hit you? Hold on, I'm gonna beat him to a pulp." So am I still supposed to remarry him now? What about your business? What do you take your brother for? Forget the business, I'll smash Felix's face in the end. My brother calmed down, this time I overstepped. "I'm sorry. Whatever you do now, I'll support you. You'll definitely find someone 100 times better than Felix. That's more like it. Don't worry, my Prince Charming is on his way, riding the Milky Way to meet me. As soon as I said those dreamy words, I turned around, and there was Jason, standing across from me. Hey, what a coincidence, waiting for the elevator, and I wasn't wearing earphones. So you heard everything? From the game to the Prince Charming. No need to be that honest. Jason and I got into the elevator. It was just the two of us, a silent space, and suddenly he spoke up. I'm 30, and I've never been in a relationship. Why is he telling me this? It's none of my business. What's he up to? He isn't some weirdo, right? I distanced myself a bit. He continued, I used to look like a girl, and got hit on by boys because of that. I punched one. Now he always asks me to hit him again. I looked at him, puzzled, as he sighed, so, that's all my secrets. I've listened to your secrets, so here's mine. Now you don't have to worry. He said, all serious. I hadn't even known Jason for a day, yet here we were, swapping secrets like this. The elevator reached the first floor. He was about to leave. But just as he turned, he remembered something. Do you like the Milky Way? Prince Charming riding the Milky Way. He suddenly smiled, like a soft spring breeze. There's a nearby galaxy exhibition. I've designed the Milky Way there. Want to check it out? Jason had this pure friendliness, warm and inviting. Sure. It's after work anyway. I agreed, then looked up, only to see Felix with bruises on his face, staring at us coldly. I thought he was going to get rough again, defending me as if I were his property. But he didn't. He casually walked up to me, saying, You're keeping things fresh, huh? Still shopping around? I averted my eyes, not wanting to engage in a softer tone. He pleaded, Christina, could you reconsider me? No. I was ready to leave with Jason. Weren't we going to see the Milky Way? I don't want to see anything that's stomach-turning. But Felix stood in front of me. Christina, I know you're jealous of Stella, and I disagree. You're accusing me wrongly. I have no romantic feelings for Stella at all. His figure blocked the light from my eyes, and my heart just grew a bit heavier with gloom. Felix, enough. Saying that only makes me even more determined to divorce you. After all, even without romantic feelings for Stella, his heart could be so biased. I felt more like a joke. I know you didn't cross any boundaries with Stella, but should I just put up with you for that reason alone? Think about it. How many important moments did you miss for Stella? Our wedding, Lily's birth, when I needed you the most, you were never there. I noticed a hint of shock on Jason's face. Did he think I was pitiful? But I don't want to be a pitiful person. I steadied my gaze, looking at Felix with extreme calm inside. Let's divorce. Let's let each other go. I pleaded with Felix. But he pleaded right back, Christina, I'll change. Don't stop loving me. I couldn't believe Felix was holding on this tight. Why? He clearly doesn't love me. If he did, he wouldn't have left me again and again. He probably just needs me for the day-to-day, like knowing he'll have his coffee just the way he likes. Stella's dependent on him, while he depends on me in a different way. I should have woken up long ago, but I kept clinging to hope. Felix, I won't say it again. We're divorcing. I turned away from him, not looking back. I'll draft another copy of the divorce papers for you. Felix still wouldn't let go. His grip hurt my wrist. You're hurting her, I heard Jason say calmly. Felix didn't even acknowledge him. Get lost. I got lost, wondering who would give Felix some legal education. Felix should know, if one spouse wants a divorce, the marriage can be dissolved. Unlike Felix's intense anger, Jason seemed so calm and unflustered. But his calm only pushed Felix's patience further. Felix let go of my hand, looked at the red mark on my wrist, wanted to touch it, but I pulled away. Is he your new boyfriend? No clue. He flexed his wrist. I knew what he was up to. Jason was only trying to help me. I didn't want him involved. So I stood in front of Jason. Suddenly a passerby crashed right into me. The impact was huge. I lost my balance. "Watch out." Jason reached out, grabbing my waist. We ended up quite close. When I turned back, the corner of my mouth brushed his lips. An unfamiliar feeling. Warm. Soft. People around us started cheering and clapping. Not sure if they were praising Jason for his quick reflexes, heroically saving me, or just enjoying the kiss. Jason and I were quickly surrounded by people. Felix was pushed back. I could only see him shaking with anger. In the end, I pulled Jason away and we escaped the crowd. We went to see the Milky Way. "I'm sorry about earlier. That was an accident." I apologized sincerely. Jason didn't seem mad about me stealing his first kiss. "It's just a worldly thing, no big deal." I laughed again. At the Starry exhibition, Jason casually introduced his work to me. He spoke eagerly about the romantic tales behind his pieces. "But I'm sorry. I'm kind of allergic to romance right now. Have you ever heard the full story? A farmer steals a fairy's clothes, she loses her freedom to fly, and gets stuck on Earth. No one knows if she truly wanted it, while folks only care about the romance, not the fairy's fate." I hadn't thought about it that way before. He seemed a bit stumped, blushing again. "Well, it's just a myth. Everyone has their own views, it's normal." I found Jason too easy to tease and didn't want to bully him. But he took it seriously. "No, it's my mistake. No need for that. And honestly, being a fairy seems easier than being a wife." He seriously pondered, then looked at me apologetically. "If it weren't for you, from a man's perspective, I might never have thought of it that way." I shook my head, nothing to apologize for. Leaving the exhibition, I needed to pick up Lily. Jason suddenly called after me. "Miss Christina. Wishing you the freedom of a fairy, and an early happy divorce." I was taken aback. Many people felt sorry and cared for me because of the divorce. But Jason. He wished me happy divorce. I thought I wouldn't cross paths with Jason again. Then came a celebrity interview task at the TV station. This time, we invited top figures from different fields. The task fell to me, and I made countless calls. But being new in LA, my connections were limited. So I braved asking Jason. He's handsome, serious, and polite. Girls love guys like him. Luckily, he agreed. When I told my boss, he was surprised. "Isn't he super busy lately?" But he agreed easily. Maybe he was too polite to say no. I thought, after the interview, I should thank him properly. So, when my boss asked for a backup plan, I refused. It felt disrespectful to Jason. But, on the day of recording, he didn't show up on time. With only 15 minutes left, I couldn't reach him by phone. That's when my boss went off on me. "You didn't even prepare a backup. Thought you were confident, huh? But look at you. Jason's busy with landmark building plans. You're just a small TV station employee. Can you just summon him?" I was scolded but wasn't too disappointed. People have bailed on me before. Felix has been bailing on me for 5 years. Jason isn't anyone to me, he doesn't owe me commitment. He's busy, probably forgot. I thought to myself, when suddenly a colleague announced, "Jason's here on time." But he came with crutches. Apparently, he got into a bike accident and broke his leg. Why not drive? I had a car accident 3 years ago, got some trauma. Jason smiled brightly. "No worries, it's just sitting during the interview. Doesn't affect anything." I felt even worse. Actually, in this situation, a call would have been totally okay. We'd understand. But I didn't want to flake on you. You inviting me on TV gives me face. How could I be ungrateful? Jason blushed once more. "You're lying. You overheard the argument with my ex. No, he always bailed on me, so you wanted to make up for that letdown?" He tensed up completely. How do you know what I'm thinking? Because you're an angel. I've started to become intrigued by angels. I quietly followed his social media account. His posts are as soothing as he is. He loves sharing nature. Clouds. Birds. Puppies and stray cats. I typed his name into a search engine. Aside from all the achievements, there was this sweet piece of news. On a rainy day some years back, he was spotted crouching by the roadside, holding an umbrella for a stubborn cat that wouldn't move. A journalist captured the moment and put it online, warming the hearts of many. Maybe, he really is an angel. Suddenly, I drifted away in my thoughts. My phone slipped and fell to the ground. As I was about to pick it up, a large hand swiped in front of me. I looked up, and my phone was already in Felix's hand. He looked at me, pretending to be gentle. What are you smiling at, so happily? Is it a picture of us? We didn't even have a picture together. The only wedding photo got lost because of Stella's carelessness, both the negatives and the originals. I didn't bother with him. Give me back my phone. Before I finished, Felix's face changed completely. You're looking at him? I snatched my phone back. What does it have to do with you? Jason's personal account had been logged out. And there it was on the screen, a picture uploaded by Felix. Our wedding photo from 5 years ago. I didn't bother to open it and just deleted it. You're boring. Felix lost it, grabbing my arms. What's not boring? He's not boring. Christina, tell me you're seeing him just to spite me. I pulled away from him. No. I may just want to have a normal relationship now. Even if it's not with Jason, it'll be with someone else. Anyway, I would never let Felix affect my whole life. Really? But we have a daughter together, Christina. You can marry someone else, but Lily must stay with me. My heart sank, staring at his determined eyes. No, Lily would choose me. What if I have to fight for her? Your family business moved abroad, but you still need domestic supplies. You wouldn't want your family to collapse, right? Felix thought he had trapped me. But he forgot. He also had a weak spot. I reached out to Stella, telling her all about his pressure. It was a hassle for me, but a nightmare for Stella. Impossible. Uncle doesn't care about you that much. You're lying. Cut the nonsense. Can you get him back to the country? Once Felix is back, Stella and I will both be at ease. So, that evening, there was news of Stella's attempted suicide. I heard she ended up in the ICU. I bet Felix would definitely go back. It's Stella, after all. Compared to her, Lily and I are nothing. But the next day, picking up Lily from school, there was Felix, happily chatting with Lily's teacher. Surprised to see me? Disgusted? I admitted. His smile faded. With Lily there, I didn't confront him. I'm taking Lily home. Back to the country? It's her home. Felix softly hinted at me. Then he picked up Lily. Sweetheart, do you want to go home with Dad? I got you lots of toys. Once you're on break, we can see the big desert together. You wanted to see camels, right? Dad promises he'll spend a lot of time with you. He gave me a profound look. I felt nothing. And as for Lily, she probably wouldn't give in to Felix. I was reaching out to take Lily back. She squirmed, wanting to get down. Dad, I don't want to see camels anymore. Wherever Mom is, that's home for Lily. And what about Dad? We have extra rooms. You can stay if Mom agrees. For the first time, Felix fell silent. He let Lily slip from his arms and returned to my side. It felt like winning a hard-fought battle. See, Felix, there are some things you just can't force. Felix's gaze dimmed as Lily and I headed home. Mom, there's a man at the door. A friend? I looked over, it was Jason. Is he your boyfriend? Lily asked excitedly. I told her to stop gossiping and sent her inside. So, I missed the chance to offer Jason a cup of tea. Sorry, kids can be loud. It's all right. She's your daughter. She looks a lot like you. Very cute. Jason was gentle, yet a bit reserved. The air between us was awkward. Finally, I broke the ice. Did you need something? No, I just wanted to say I'm leaving for Europe on a business trip tomorrow. I'll be gone for a month. A month. That's long. Why tell me? I pressed my lips together, feeling my heartbeat quicken so. He fumbled a bit, then spoke up. When I get back, can I confess to you? What? I actually have a secret. That day at the TV station, I fell for a girl named Christina at first sight. I agreed to meet Jason. I haven't seen Felix since. A month's wait felt a bit drawn out. Jason and I stayed in touch daily. My heart raced, as if it were a first love. First love. I never had one. What I thought was love, back in high school, after a school fire and I almost didn't make it out. It was Felix who carried me away from the blaze. Back then, clinging to his back, my heart was full of attachment. But time flew. I couldn't find a trace of that rescuing boy in Felix anymore. All these years, Felix tried every way to stop me from wanting a divorce. He approached my brother and got punched. He tried my parents, but they wouldn't even let him in. He even tried to manipulate my work, to get close to me. I wondered why he was so persistent. Not even Stella's crisis could call him back. His answer was absurd. I know if I go back, I'd lose you forever. He finally realized I'm no longer waiting for him to come home. You could stay in LA forever, and I wouldn't care. Really? You still love me? That was before. In the cafe, I stayed calm. Felix, what kind of person do you think I am? Calm, gentle, reasonable. Felix was quick but wrong. I've changed. Do you believe that 5 years ago, the first time I saw Stella, I wanted to pull her hair and slap her? Because I felt she stole my husband. Back then, I was like a scorned woman, having lost my husband to another. I looked up, and Felix's eyes seemed to fall into an abyss. I smiled. Do you think I'm pitiful too? So, please let me go. I don't want to love you anymore, I just want to love myself. Felix never came to find me again. But I never received divorce papers either. We were stuck in this limbo. I took Lily to the amusement park, and he stood at a distance. I walked with Lily, and he followed us. Just last night, he called me to explain the situation with Stella. But it wasn't really an explanation. Until I was 10, I grew up in an orphanage. My biological father was an irresponsible drifter who broke my mom's heart. If she had other kids, she probably wouldn't have bothered raising me. The first time I met Stella, she called me dad, which was ridiculous. I was only 20. How could I be her dad? But when she called me that, I thought of my father. I decided to raise Stella, to take full responsibility for her, to show my parents. Felix had adopted Stella out of a twisted sense of revenge. But who was he getting back at? I remained unfazed. Felix, the pain from your original family isn't an excuse to hurt others. Your parents hurt you, but Lily and I did not. I hung up. From then on, Felix didn't contact me again. He followed me and Lily around like some kind of stray. Mom, there's a bunny. Lily suddenly broke away from my hand, excited. I didn't have time to catch her. A car came toward us. Lily. I ran over, but a shadow moved faster than me. Felix grabbed Lily and took the hit. He was left unconscious. Felix's mom flew into Los Angeles. She looked at her son with his eyes shut tight and showed no emotion but had a demand. Take the kid and go back to the country with Felix. If not, she'd cut off the supply of raw materials to our family business. I laughed. Like mother, like son. I wasn't grateful. Felix should save Lily, she's his daughter. And even if he didn't, I would have. But I didn't want to drag my family down. Fine, I agree. I nodded. My mother-in-law coldly chuckled. Worthless boy. If he had just done this sooner, I wouldn't have kept your supply for 3 years. Hearing that, my heart sank. Felix, what were you thinking? I didn't tell my family about the threat from my ex-mother-in-law. I insisted on going back to the country. But my parents and brother disagreed. Cutting ties with their supply chain wouldn't bankrupt us, but it would hurt. I insisted. Though it wouldn't ruin us, it would definitely cause damage. I'd always pursued my interests, never contributing to the family. This time, let me make a sacrifice. We finally reached an agreement. I would go back to the country with my daughter and stay with Felix. For a year. After that, Felix must divorce me and promise me custody of our daughter. But at the airport, I got cold feet. Jason was coming back to LA tomorrow. If he came back and I wasn't there, would he be upset? I thought about leaving him something. But why bother? There was never meant to be anything between us. Why hold him back? 3 months after returning to the country, Felix woke up. But he had amnesia. He didn't remember anyone except me. Once he recovered, he seemed like a different person. If I was around, he was there, showing care and being thoughtful. Strange, he hadn't changed wives but had become the perfect husband. Stella came looking for him several times but got turned away. Felix didn't remember her. She didn't believe it. She thought Felix was faking it and, in anger, married one of Felix's old party buddies, becoming the wife of a notorious playboy. But Felix didn't care, he even gave her a generous gift. I started to think Felix had a cold heart. Can he really have amnesia? Why does he only remember me and Lily? He can't even remember Lily's birthday. I watched him act like a good dad, a good husband. He'd tuck Lily in, then head to my room, but I'd go to the study instead, keeping our distance. Tonight, though, he stopped me. Can I stay with you? He asked. He seemed desperate. Are you done pretending? I said. In an instant, he scooped me up and laid me on the bed, his body hovering over me. Felix. I was frantic, instinctively struggling. He seemed unaffected, whispering near my ear, "Stop messing around. Can we make up? Let go." No. Whenever we argued before, one sleep would solve things, right? His fingers started undoing my buttons, but he stopped at the last moment because in my desperation, I called out someone else's name. Jason. After returning from LA, that was the first time I thought of him. Felix propped himself up, staring at me blankly. You still remember him? He said, his voice chilling. I guess I haven't been good enough. He said those words and didn't press further. After that, he treated me even better. He wanted me to smile at him, but I couldn't smile at anyone but Lily. I heard through the grapevine that Stella, once living it up, was now miserable. Her husband had many women, and her in-laws despised her. She tried to get Felix's support but couldn't even get past the door. Eventually, she was thrown out after flirting with a male model at a bar. She was on her own now. Felix said nothing more than, "She has hands and feet, she can manage." So, he always knew she could fend for herself. Yet here I was, living less freely than she was. A year went by fast. But Felix and his family seemed to forget the deal. They wouldn't let Lily and me leave. That day, lost in thought, I was peeling an apple when Felix came home to see my hands covered in blood. He looked horrified. Christina, who allowed you to hurt yourself? It appeared that I tried to slit my wrist, but I didn't really do it. Sometimes, if you want something, you've got to pay the price. So, I got the divorce papers. Christina, I'm making it easy for you. Just go. Take Lily with you. Felix said this with his back to me, his voice hoarse. It seemed like he was crying. Whatever. I was thrilled. Finally free. Christina, happy divorce. Epilogue, Felix stood by the window, watching Christina and their daughter leave. The mother and daughter duo, their joyous backs so incredibly alike. Were they this happy leaving him? He used to be a jerk. But he thought he changed. His Christina, the girl he carried out from the fire, was once all about him. She grew up to be so gentle and lovely. She knew how to live, made a life, filled the house with stuff she picked out. And there was always that faint scent of her handmade aroma. This was Felix's one and only home. He grew up in an orphanage, and when he returned home, found out his parents were all jerks. The only one who gave him a home was Christina. Yet she left, never coming back. Thinking about this, Felix felt a surge in his veins, actually coughing up blood. Christina traveled with their daughter to many countries. They finally returned to Los Angeles. One evening, while walking her dog, she unknowingly ended up on a university campus. Well, actually, she knew. She hung around that university a lot, wearing a hat and mask, acting all sneaky. She wanted to see someone but was also scared to. Today, she finally ran into him. In front of the library, a guy stood with a book, handling something at the door. A red-haired kid was nervously asking for leave. "Professor, my friend just had a breakup and needs me, so today's Class A breakup?" The young professor heard the word and his eyes immediately dimmed. How does a breakup happen? Is it because the girl he liked went back to her ex? Jason, you always make me want to cry and laugh. My heart was pulled deep. No more hesitating. I walked up, tapped him on the shoulder. "Hey, let's meet again. I'm your free-spirited fairy now." In that instant when he turned around, I saw the entire galaxy in his eyes. Shining bright. "Jason, this time, I'm gonna be the one chasing you."